Hello, Andrea. Good evening.
Hello.
And good evening. That is, I'm going to try a little trick here. So, good evening from me from Belgium, and I'm somewhere here. And let's see if I can ask Google to find you where you are. And it should be, oh, seems to work out.
Yes, go
And
around the world. I'm in the
you're
middle of the ocean. No, I'm not.
No, luckily not. So that would be kind of wet and cold. So
Mhm.
you're in Honolulu. Am I correct?
No, that's not Honolulu. That's
Oh,
Nassau,
that's
Bahamas.
yes. Sorry. Why did I say Honolulu? I don't know.
You
Okay,
want to go to
that
Hawaii?
yeah, something like that. No, that's Bahamas is just better.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
and at this point in Belgium, it is 22:30. And what's the time on your side?
Well, we're on Eastern Standard Time, so it's 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon.
In the afternoon. So you still have a big part of the day, while here it's already dark. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I hail from the beautiful island of New Providence, which is in the capital of the Bahamas. I am a project manager and a certified Scrum Master, and I am also a mother, wife, and a mother of a fur baby. And I own my own company called Creative Minds Project Development and Consultation. And I am the founder of the first and only community of practice in the Bahamas for Agilists and Scrum Masters and project managers, known as the Bahamas Agile and Project Management Community.
And if everything works fine, that's the logo that you have there.
Yes.
So that's very nice. Yeah, it's both nice logo, and it's nice also. I like also the fact that agile and project management community, because we need to, well, find each other in multiple ways, I think. So it's
Yes.
nice to have that. So welcome.
Thank you for having me, Eve.
And we're here. I forgot into the introduction. We're here for the Scrum Master Submit on the whole track on hybrid working. And today you're going to talk with us about well, agile community building. That's the track, and I'm really looking forward to that, because for me, I said just in the conversation before with you, for me, community building is a solution, or is something where we can look a lot or learn a lot from, if we want to talk about hybrid and remote working. So
Yeah.
tell us a little more about your ID.
Okay, well, the Bahamas Agile and Project Management Community was formed on June 1st of 2000 2021, last year. So just a short 10 months ago, actually. And
In the
we
middle
are,
of the pandemic.
yes, in the middle of a pandemic.
Wow.
Yes, and we're now proudly part of the Scrum Alliance Network Pro user group. So we're
Mhm.
also sponsored by the Scrum Alliance, which allows us to offer Scrum education units to persons who have Scrum Alliance certifications, which is awesome.
Mhm.
And we meet once a month at the last Thursday every month virtually. We haven't gone in person as yet. So now we're meeting virtually, and we have both local and international speakers who come and speak to our community about project management topics, agile topics, and anything regarding networking, how to have continuous improvement and leadership. So we welcome a lot of different speakers.
Wow. And so you started completely in a remote world. So how did you started that? Because that's really interesting, because a lot of communities started out in an online offline world and then moved to online, but you completely started remotely. So I'm really interested in how did you start this?
Well, it started with me doing a lot of groundwork.
Mhm.
I joined the South Florida Agile Association in June of 2020, and I was a part of that organization. And I enjoyed networking and meeting fellow Agilists and Scrum Masters. And I thought to myself, I wonder if we have something like this in the Bahamas. So I did my research
Mm.
and I found out that there was no community for Scrum Masters and Agilists. And in fact, agility is so new in the Bahamas that we don't have many opportunities for Scrum Masters and Agilists yet. And so I thought
Mhm.
it would have been a great concept to bring a what to start a agile community for project managers, not necessarily agilists, because we didn't have many. And
Mhm.
I started a database searching for persons who had project management certifications, and then it expanded to those who had agile certifications. And I invited them to come out and join me. We launched the first meetup on June 1st, like I said previously, and it's been going great since then.
Okay, and so tell me a little more. What kind of you talked about international speakers and others. How did you contact them? How did that work?
Well, I am very well connected. I make it a point to network with different organizations. I'm a part of Women in Agile. I'm a part of
Hmm.
Women Power Up, and a lot of different agile communities. And I also take part in a lot of regional Scrum gatherings. And so I network and I meet people and I listen to speakers and I contact them and I said, listen, I love what I heard and how you presented, and I would love for you to speak at my community. So can you please accept an invitation? So that's really how it works. I source persons based on what I think would be valuable to the community, and we just make it happen.
And everybody wants to go to the Bahamas, of course, so that
Yes,
helps.
but not virtually, not virtually. They was like, you need to
No.
find something in person soon because we want to come to the Bahamas. So that's a good thing.
So that's actually probably one of the big advantages that you have is that everybody wants to come to your country and say, we want to come join, speak in person to your country.
Yes, yes. So they're very anxious to build that relationship because they're hoping, secretly hoping that I'll soon say we're having an in-person event and everyone's invited. Come on down. I actually was told by someone that I don't have enough couch space.
Okay. So that's yeah, but we're kind of joking, but at the same time I think it brings it real because indeed people are interested in both online and offline, of course.
Yes,
And like you say, people joining, but even jokes aside, it's like you say, it's not a large country, so I can imagine that it's not, if there would be a conference, it would not be for 10,000 people or things like that that would happen in the United States. So definitely the yeah, you need to find ways on how you can reach people. So that's
yes, exactly. And I think the draw for us is not necessarily to keep it on island. My
mhm,
thing is I'm global thinking. And so my relationships are not necessarily with the Bahamians who are here. And that's, I just work in that silo. My
mhm.
mindset is that of global and networking and reaching persons and having them collaborate with us because we're building this community from scratch. We don't have anything to say, well, this is our starting point. We were the starting point. And so it's for
Mhm.
us to go out and find out what everyone else is doing, bring back what we think will work for us, and then make it our own.
Okay, I like that. I like that. At the same time, I assume that you still have like you said, some experienced people. Maybe not much, but people who are actually been doing that. Are they speaking as well, or is this at this moment more something that you're still um, using more external speakers? How does that work?
Well, when we started the new year, 2020, the goal of our team was to have 12 meetups because we have it once a month. So we're having 12 meetups.
Hmm.
And we wanted to source 6 international speakers and 6 local speakers. So we're only at the
Right.
first quarter point. So we're still
Hmm.
scheduling our speakers. So that's still our intention to have a mix and not necessarily so much from one side because we
And
also
when
want
you
to we want to showcase that we have local talent as well.
Yeah, that's why I was asking because I think it's well, yeah, it helps in both directions, and
Yes,
I hope at some point you can send your sons and daughters outside to the rest of the world. Let's put it like this, because
yes,
it's yeah. It's always good to have new blood and people that have experience in a certain thing to talk about it in the rest of the world. When you say your team, how big is your team?
Well, our team started with 10 persons, 10 volunteers,
Hmm.
and so we're holding to that number. We don't want a vast group of persons because we function as a scrum team, and we
Okay.
try we try to use the opportunity of having the community as a learning experience to teach scrum and the scrum principles and values, and so that's why we keep our team to a small number.
I like that. Well, a small number, it's especially for organizing events. 10 is actually almost like a large number. I know a lot of
Yeah.
um, meetups. I was looking for the right word, but I think meetups is the
Yes.
correct name today to say today with yeah, organizers teams that are usually less than 10. But I like the fact that you organize it as a scrum team because then you actually practice what you preach,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
in a new community where people are looking for experiences that can be really interesting. So
Yes.
that's
And
and
one
so
thing
how yeah, go
one
ahead.
thing one thing I'm really proud of, and I would like to share, is that when we first started the community back in June, I think I was the only one certified as a Scrum Master, and then we had someone on our team out of Puerto Rico who was certified as a product owner. And so our communication was being challenged because we didn't have persons who understood the Scrum values and principles. They were traditional project managers, their background, and
Mhm.
we actually were able to ensure that our team got certified as Scrum Masters. So now everyone who works with our volunteer community are certified Scrum Masters. So we're not only
Mm.
building a community, we're building a network of Scrum Masters in the Bahamas. So when the opportunities do present themselves, we have qualified talent that's being trained by working in an environment of Scrum, so that when the jobs do show up and Agile does reach our shore in a more tangible way, we will have that community already established.
I like it because you give a few examples already here that you actually well you show that okay there is nothing and we create something. There is no community, okay, we create the community. There are no jobs, okay, we'll create experience and we create experienced people doing it in the community, making sure that people have the right training, and so we're ready for that jobs. And that's actually it reminds me a lot about some of the stuff that we did now in my country in Belgium like 20 years ago. I didn't see it as I didn't realize at that time that we're building up to make sure that we were ready for the jobs and creating it, but that's exactly what you're doing. That's
Yes.
how it's working. You're making sure you have the environment, you're making sure that you're acting and learning on the job. So I really like that. So that's thank you for sharing it because that's a really powerful way of doing that.
Yeah, well, I strongly believe that, you know, as a visionary, you have to see past the carnal right now and you have to look into the future. And so I see the future where Agile is going to be the next big thing in the Bahamas, and that we're going to have companies that are going to want to have Agile transformations done, and they're going to want to have Scrum Masters and product owners and Agile coaches. And we're just preparing ourselves to be ready for when that opportunity presents itself. And we can say that you don't have to outsource these positions. Here it is, we have a community of knowledgeable persons who have that experience, and we're ready to hit the ground running from day one. Like, we want to be the ones on the inside doing the training and teaching their staff how to adopt agility and agile ways of working, and we could only do that if we start the process now before there's a need.
Yeah, well, people can learn it on the job, but it's like you say, there is a bigger risk than that they will look for
Yep.
outside help. And even if they do, you can still show up and say, well, look, we have some people who have
Yes.
experience, and depending on how long it will take before these jobs are there, you will have more or less experience. So, but that's nice. Um, I just realized while you were talking that I have I have no idea how large is your country, because I have no idea how large is the IT community in your company, in your country. How many people is the country? I have no idea.
Well, the Bahamas is strategically placed, and
Hmm.
we are a country of 700 islands and keys, and
Okay.
24 of those islands are inhabited. And in fact, our population, I don't think we have hit the 500,000 mark.
Okay.
So we don't even have a million people in the Bahamas. So we're a very tiny nation, a tiny island nation. But we're tiny but mighty.
Well, and that brings me to that second part of that question. How many people are working in IT inside your country? You have any idea?
Well, IT is not that big. We don't
Hmm.
have that many IT companies per se. We are on the verge of expanding that market. But as you may know, tourism is our number one industry. And so the
Hmm.
focus is not on technology, the focus is on tourism, but we are heading in the right direction of advancing technology. So we have a lot of different startups that are coming up, and they're developing apps and programs for different organizations. So we're on the cutting edge. We're on the cusp of moving forward into a different field that may just take over and be our number one industry one day.
Wow, that's nice. You made me realize while you were explaining it is that I helped out, and I need to think how many, probably 4 or 5 years ago, I helped out two students that were learning about Scrum, and they needed to do some kind of it was part of their official curriculum at school, and one of them did. Worked actually used Scrum in a kind of holiday environment. I'm not sure it's completely so. It was completely off IT, but they needed to, what was it, create a bar and create some kind of event.
Mm-hmm.
And so I helped them out where they used stand-ups on a daily basis to do some stuff. So while I was asking about IT, I realized, well, actually some of that stuff could be used outside IT as well.
Yes.
Um, I can imagine if you have a tourist, your whole tourist industry, when you
Mm-hmm.
work with tourists on a day-to-day basis, you have a team that you need to work and you have to collaborate on how to work with the tourists. If you're in a hotel or another thing,
Yes.
there is also a need for kind of structure on how to work with that. So, and definitely if I think about how tourists are, you can plan a lot, but the tourists are always behaving completely I would say
Mm-hmm.
irresponsible is maybe the wrong word to use, but
Yeah.
unpredictable is the word I was
Yeah.
looking for. So then Agile and Scrum can definitely help on how to deal with the new circumstances. So that can be helpful as well.
Yes, and I'm also looking into ways to implement Agile into our educational system because
Hmm.
I homeschool my 10-year-old daughter. I've been homeschooling her for almost 2 years now, and I've been teaching her Scrum. And we actually presented at the Access Agile Festival last year, October, and she was the youngest presenter. And she had just started learning Scrum. So now we're a few months in, and she is becoming a lover of Scrum. She really puts me through the ringer when we have our retrospectives, and she points out all the infractions that I make against our working agreement. So she has been taught so well that it's scary sometimes that she reprimands the teacher. So it's really
Wow.
good how we can implement
And
Scrum and Agile in so many different ways. It's not just IT.
it reminds me of in the Netherlands they started something in school that's called Edu Scrum, so they're
Yes.
using it officially. And when they came present at the Belgium Netherlands conference, they talked about something that the students invented. So next to definition of ready and definition of done, they also had their definition of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, it was important that every sprint they had some kind of fun, and what does that mean, fun, and
Yes.
how to do that. So that's yeah, it's wonderful when you see children, whatever age, to
Mm-hmm.
use an idea like this and then run with it and use it
Yes.
in different ways. So that's
And
really
be and
nice.
their creativity is very high. They don't have the inhibitations
Hmm.
of adults because their mind is just curious. They don't fail. They just explore. And so that's the beauty of it. And teaching Scrum at a young age, it gets their minds going, and they are very awesome. They're resilient, you know. So the things that would inhibit us and cause us to pause, and we have to assess so many risk factors, they don't think about the risk.
I really like that. I really like how you how you talk about that because indeed, um, yeah, we sometimes I was about to say parents, but I mean adults. As adults, we sometimes are already limiting ourselves because we somehow pick up, I don't know, well, we call it rules from society, but I don't think there should be rules. But we pick up some kind of messages from society that we
Yes,
should behave like this or that, and children are much more
they're
open to
free.
learn from
Mhm.
exactly much more free. That's the word I was looking for. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we call it limiting beliefs. So we are imposed with limiting
Exactly.
beliefs that tells us what we can and can't do. But children are more exploratory learners, and if you allow them the space, they would really incorporate everything that Scrum wants us to incorporate, and they really take empiricism to another level.
Yeah, we 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 can learn as much from our children as they can learn from us, or probably much
Yes.
more actually. I want to go back to, a little bit to, the community, because this
Mhm.
is like I said in the beginning, this is for the hybrid and remote work, and you started this full thing in a completely remote. So I'm looking for ideas, things that you can say, okay, we've done this in a remote way that the community, that people can learn from it if they want to take it back to the office. So what can people that want to learn about hybrid and remote working learn from everything you did?
Well, I think from myself, because I work from home,
Hmm.
and I've been part of the corporate world for over 20 years, so it's kind of been a shift for me as well. But the pandemic has caused everything to shift, so
Yeah,
it's an
that's
adjustment for
definitely.
everybody. And so working remotely, it has a lot of advantages in that I don't have to pay for gas
Hmm.
because right now the cost of
And
gas
right now, that's a really good advantage. Yes.
cost of gas is really insane in the Bahamas. So when everyone else is complaining about the $5 and the $6 or maybe the $4, we're almost up to $8 or $9 a gallon. So don't complain. And
Wow. Okay.
that's one of the advantages. You don't have to commute, and then also you are more focused on outcomes and outputs versus having to
Mm.
sit in an office environment where maybe something isn't happening on that day, and you can shift your focus into something else. So productivity has increased despite what some of the naysayers may say, but I think having more control of your time makes you more productive, because even if it's self-care and it's downtime, it's still worthwhile time that you need for your mental health. So you can schedule in what you feel is priority and what helps you function better as an employee.
I like that, and the fact that you don't have to travel is already for
Yes.
depending on how far you need to travel. I know in Belgium sometimes it can take up to 2 to 3 hours a day. That we, if I have to go back to Brussels, it can take a lot of hours to get there. Hours that are useless to everyone. Well, I can listen to a podcast and
Yes.
listen to a book, and maybe if I'm on a train edit a video or something like that, but it's yeah, it's always limited in time because it's 10 minutes there, 20 minutes there going, so it's, yeah, it's limited.
Yeah, well, unlike
um
unlike your commute, being on the island of New Providence, which is only 21 miles by 7 miles, nothing is far from nothing else. The
yeah, exactly, I can
whole island
imagine.
is only 21 miles long, so but we don't like traffic.
No, I can imagine, but still, like you say, if you talk about spending
Mhm.
less time on travel and the fact that you pay less gas, it also means that you don't do it on foot, so it still
Yes.
is traffic.
Yes.
Or like a friend of mine says, you're still traffic at some point.
Yes.
You're not standing in traffic, you are traffic. Uh,
Mm.
and yeah, this is a loss of time for most of us. Except if you're a bus driver, then it's your work. But other than that, it's lost of time
Yeah.
and not productive. And I like the fact that you for me you put a very core aspect that remote work and hybrid does even better than other things. It's indeed we need to focus on the output. What's the outcome that we're creating? Not just the output, but the outcome that we're creating.
Well, I
Um,
think, sorry
Go
for
ahead.
interrupting, but
No.
I think the challenge in a lot of work environments is for the leadership to see the value in remote workers and hybrid workers, because they're so used, and they have this fixed mindset that if I can't physically see you, that you're not working. And I think it's important for those of us who know better to speak up and say, you don't have to physically see me, because if I'm producing, I don't have to be in front of your face for you to know that I'm at work and I'm working. If you give me an assignment and I complete it, should it matter if I'm present or not? It shouldn't matter. So hybrid work, I think that's the way of the future. I think that's the new way of working.
I fully agree there. I think there is a lot there that we can learn and okay about, like you say, if the work is done, that's the real thing. Because let's be honest, there is also the opposite. You might see people working in front of you and you have no clue what they're doing,
Yeah.
except if you're looking over their shoulder, but you can't look over the shoulder from everyone. So it doesn't,
Yes.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And just showing, otherwise you can get busy work but not results, and that's
Exactly.
makes everybody unhappy.
Yes.
So that's yeah. So thank you
And
for
that's one thing.
sharing
That's
that.
one thing that I say. I always say I don't want to be busy. I want to be productive. So let's strive to be
Mm.
productive and not busy, because anyone could be busy. You could fill up your calendar with a lot of stuff, but not be producing or not be accomplishing your goals. So don't strive to be busy. Strive to be productive.
Wow, that's a very powerful thing. Let's not strive to be busy, but let's strive to be productive. I'm going to steal or borrow that tag, that's for sure. Okay. I want to go. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. I want to go to, well, closing, seeing is there is a book that you want to share and with our, well, I would say readers, but I'm looking, of course, listeners about,
Yes.
yeah, something that we can share.
Well, I try to get at least a few books into my reading list every year.
Hmm.
And I am on this book at the moment, Project Management for Parents by Hilary Kinney. And she is
Hmm.
actually going to be presenting at the Bahamas Agile and Project Management community at the end of this month at our meetup.
Woohoo!
So on the
So
28th
that
of April, she will be with us and talking about her new.
So that's the book that you're talking about. I like the fact that you have it, but I'm showing it here because it might sometimes be a little bit easier for people to see it.
Yes.
Um, I'm just thinking when the Scrum Masters Meet will be. This is probably going to be
Yeah.
aired after
After.
the thing. But I definitely would like to have the link. I'm not sure if I will be able to follow because I don't know my agenda by heart, but I'll definitely spread it around before as well. Because, like we said earlier on, who wouldn't want to be at an event in the Bahamas? So
Yes.
that is definitely something. Well, for me, this is another big advantage that remote work is doing. I've been
Yes.
following, well, talking to you again is one of the advantages, and being able to follow events around the world and jumping in. Yeah, I cannot go jump on a plane just for a one evening event
Yes.
on your country, yeah, that's just not feasible. It's
I
also not
agree.
good for the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But on a remote way, I can just jump in, and
Yes.
then after that, just go to bed with and sleep in my own bed. So that's definitely worthwhile to do that. So
I totally agree with you, and I know exactly what you're saying because I've been to three regional Scrum gatherings already for the year. So I've been to Cape Town, Africa. I went to Egypt, and the regional Scrum gathering for Nigeria just started today. So I was in Nigeria for most of the day.
yes, well, I've been. This is interesting because I've been never been able to physically go to a Scrum Master gathering just for agenda wise, and so this year I've been thinking now I can finally be able to do, and then today I was busy with all kind of, well, not busy, I was productive with lots of
Yes.
other different kind of things, and not even be able to go there, even if I have lots of friends in Nigeria. So I really looked like, damn it, I wanted to go there. But yeah, okay.
It was a great day one. So I'm looking forward to day two and day three. It was really good today.
They're very smart people over there. I've been, well, connected with a few people over there. And so definitely there is a lot of smart people there that make it worthwhile to join in that kind of community.
Yes.
I would
And
like to thank you very much for your time because it's been wonderful. I can't read the exact timing, but I think we're
yes.
about at the time that we can do. Is there what's a good way for people to connect with you if they want to connect back with you?
Well, I can easily be reached on LinkedIn by my name, Andrea Pratt-Smith. That's the
Did
best way
I
to
do
reach me.
this correctly? Is this the correct link?
Yes, yes, it is.
Woohoo!
And I would say that I learned something very interesting, or I heard something very interesting from Jesse. What's his name? Oh man, I'm messing it up. But he is the co-founder or co-author of the PMI ACP exam. He presented at the Regional Scrum Gathering Nigeria today, and he
Hmm.
said that it looks easy, but it is not easy, and you have to do the work. And I think for me, being the founder of an agile community, when there's nothing existing, that's how I feel. Like I make it look easy, but it's really a lot of hard work. And I think that people will come to appreciate it later on, that, a lot of effort went into it. But when I was asked why me? My response was, why not me? Why not me?
Mm.
Why should I not lead the charge? Why should I not fill a need? Or if, why should I not be there? Why should I not have a seat at the table? It's like, if we wait on someone else to do something, will it get done?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I like that you say it because it's, yeah, they might not invite you at the table or not invite you, but you can bring your own chair, and that's exactly what you're doing. You
Yes.
create the table basically in this case. You're not even asking or bringing a chair, but you're creating the table and you're creating and that's um, what I think a lot of people need to see also when we create, when we work in certain things, is that, yeah, you create some of the opportunities yourself.
Yes.
And it's not always, there is limitations. Like you say, there is the pandemic. So we all have some kind of limitations and things are not always possible. Like you say, there is no Scrum opportunity right now, maybe in your country, but you create it yourself by creating that community.
Yes.
You have the learning experience and you're ready at the moment that that the rest of the rest of the country is ready. So I really like that, as you say. And yes, I fully agree with the other statement that Jesse was making.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy, but we make it look
You
easy.
make it look easy.
uh, and we sometimes, I think it's good, and I really like that you say that it's not easy, because sometimes we look around of us and we say, "Oh, but this person is doing it, and yeah, but that's because he's doing it, and because he or she is so smart, and it's easy." No,
No.
we make it look easy and we invite other people to help and join us, and we make
Yes.
it easier for them to join and that they can learn. But that doesn't
Yes.
mean that starting everything is easy. It's
It's just about coming out of your comfort zone, because a lot of things I would hesitate and say I don't think, I would struggle with my own imposter syndrome, and I would feel
mhm.
that I'm not qualified enough. I felt like this community should have been led by a male, seeing that the majority of the project managers in the Bahamas are male. So I had to
Mm.
get out of that feeling, and then I started to doubt myself, like I'm not qualified enough. I don't have the experience of a scrum master. I don't have, I started to say I don't have so many things. But then I told myself, stop focusing on what you think you don't have, and start to focus on what you do have. And what you do have is a passion, and let that be the fuel to lead you on this journey, because it's all about being a change agent and introducing something that has never been done before. And that just takes grit, and that takes boldness, and that just takes the willingness to be the one, you to want to be the one, to want to help others. And I think at the core of it is having a servant leadership heart, and wanting to see something better for someone else, not necessarily for self, but for my whole country. And I feel like I don't mind being pushed forward if I'm bringing a country behind me. So that's my mission. I want to help bring my country to the next level.
Wow, that's the only word I can say. I mean, I already liked a lot of what you said just in the bulk of the whole conversation, but this last, I don't know how long, last 2 3 minutes, or even wow, that's all I can say about that. So thank you for sharing that,
That's
because
my
that's
heart.
indeed, yeah, but you bring something really important. Indeed, you bring, well, there's a lot of talk in the Agile community the last few years about imposter syndrome, but you condense it to the core. Okay, I don't think I can do it because of, and we all have our own reasons. We all have our own reasons why other people are better. But then you can step up and you can, once you make that switch and say, and then you attach it again to what you want to do. You're not just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for your country. That, yeah,
Makes
that
it,
puts
yeah.
the bar even higher, and you know that, and yeah, that everybody's behind you because you're well, I wouldn't say you're pushing your country, but because you're
Yes.
leading your country in that
Yes.
sense. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you too. And can I take a quick snapshot of us before we leave? And if it's
No
possible,
problem.
can I put a post on my LinkedIn? I
You
celebrate
can
small
definitely.
wins. I honestly celebrate small wins to encourage myself, because I feel like this is an accomplishment in itself. Even just sitting here with you is an accomplishment.
I would put it much further, is that I would encourage everybody who's watching this video to contact you on LinkedIn, and to tell them how much that helped them and inspired them, because I really like what you're doing. You're pushing it, and every time you get something like you did, oh, but wait, there's another thing. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like, wow, I think I'm going to listen back to this talk, and I'm going to see what else I can learn from you in doing that. So thank you very much. So yes, you can take a picture. Okay, so let's say goodbye. Let's stop the recording. I say goodbye from Belgium to Bahamas, and let's
Yes.
make sure that we meet again in your community.
Yes, yes. I'll send you an invite to come to the Bahamas whenever we do something in person.
That sounds like a good idea, and make sure that we can do it for everyone who's here.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.